Welcome to The Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
Hey there, I am Jen Lilley. I'm an actress, singer, and foster care advocate, and the host of Voices ThatGive. And this is
Isabel Macmaster. I am an Australian actress and I'm a jeweler as well. And I've just won, very excitedly, Voices ThatGive through Jen.
Yeah, we're so excited. Isabel was one of my favorite, if not my favorite contestant. She is an amazing actress. I told my manager about her weeks ago. I was literally like, I think this girl's better than I am. And if she doesn't win, like, you might want to contact her anyway, because she's amazing. So I was really excited because you were what, Isabel? You were like in 7th place or something day of.
That was my strategy. That was like, because I just thought, I can't, like, yeah, it was going so crazy at the end with people just jumping all over the place. I was like, I can't start trying to get votes early in the week because, you know, it's just going to go nuts. So, yeah.
That is amazing. Anyway, when I got the notification of who won, I was like, wait, what? Because I was like, she was in 7th place. And then they said, I like literally had to Google, and I was like, are you sure? Are you sure that she won?
I know, me too. When I got the email saying you won, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited. But you haven't seen her video yet. I think it's still available, right, Isabel?
Yes, still up.
Amazing. So basically it started 4 years ago. I started recording my debut album, Lily, which is a 60s style album. It's very classic music. Some people say it's similar to Duffy or like an Amy Winehouse type genre, which is awesome. And I created music in the idea of wanting to make sure that I always gave 100% of my profit. Anything I make in music, you know, will always go toward helping children in foster care, because I'm a foster care and child advocate here in the States. Internationally, I do a lot of work for human trafficking, but I also have foster and adopted parent. And so I study a lot about foster care and try to change legislation here. And I think that one of the ways to break the cycles of abuse and break the cycle of foster care, because it is a cycle, is to create a neighborhood model where you have foster parents like me whose home is safe, stable, and loving, so that that child really can get the therapy that they need. So I was like, well, I want to build this through my music. Didn't know how, went through a whole musical journey, and then decided through a friend of mine to maybe host a contest. And I thought, that would be so cool. We could call it Voices ThatGive, like giving back your talent or your voice for children. And it kind of just really evolved from there. And so we just created the contest, and then we kind of tied my album in that, like, if people purchased $10 worth of votes, they got my album. If they did $25 or more, they got my autographed album. And that's how we opened it up. And then, Isabel, how did you find the contest? She entered as actress, won best overall.
I got an email from, I think it was Casting Networks.
Yes. Yeah. That was the work I did, trying to recruit actors.
Yeah, because I thought, I was trying to think myself, how did I hear about this? Was it Instagram? Or because people said to me, how did you hear about this contest? And I was thinking, I just don't know. But then I came across the email the other day, from Casting Networks. So, yeah, I think that's such a cool way to do it as well, because it makes it so legit acting-wise, rather than just being Instagram, you know?
So I put a casting breakdown in as many countries as would let me to rally actors and just say, like, hey, I'm another actor. I really like supporting artists, and this is a way to use your talent and gifts to not only help kids, but also stay sane during coronavirus.
Totally. So basically, well, I was pretty casual at the beginning, thinking, you know, like, it was an amazing prize pack. So, like, anyone would be thinking this would be amazing to win. But I entered my video. You had to enter a video with either your special skill or whatever, whether you're a Hallmark fan or actor, singer, dancer. And then there was, I think it was 5 rounds where you had to win. I think the first few were a little bit like more chilled because it was just the top, you know, 10, that kind of
30
thing.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so at that point you're like, yeah, I'm doing so great. I'm number 9 out of 10. I got through. And then when it started getting, and then like in the higher rounds, you have to come first in the round to then,
move on to the next.
and it was all based on votes. So it was everyone could have a free vote, and otherwise you could buy a vote per dollar, and that was all going to the foster children. So yeah, and then you just had to get through each round and win.
Yeah, that's incredible. I literally this is so fun. It was such a fun journey to watch. So Isabel submitted this amazing scene. What's that scene from?
Fleabag. Do you know that show?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. Clearly.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, finding that scene actually made me go and watch the show, and then it was like amazing.
Did you?
Yeah, highly recommend.
Before you'd seen the show?
Yeah, I did it before I'd seen the show, so I sort of made up the background. Yeah, and then when I saw it, there was slight differences, but obviously you can kind of gather a lot just from the scene. Yeah,
it's so fascinating to me as like another actress to be like, what was your process? Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, love that scene as well. So good, so emotional when you watch in the show as well.
She gets $10,000 US cash. Yeah, she got best overall winner. So she got that, and she's going to get national press. So we're going to do a lot of interviews. I don't know whether you'll do solo interviews or we'll do them together. I don't know how that's going to work. And that was the best overall prize. And then because she's an actor, she also gets her category-specific prizes, which is, let me know if I leave anything out, a walk-on role in a Hallmark movie with me, which will to be determined because everything is kind of shut down and on pause right now. She gets a meeting with my manager, who is like, oh, the nicest, kindest, most honest, like description words and adjectives you cannot attach to Hollywood manager in Hollywood. His name is Mitch Clem. He's amazing. I'm like the lowest actor on his totem pole as far as just like accolades and awards. He's so lovely. Like, he's so lovely. So she gets a meeting with him, and he will really help her because he's like me. He just wants to help people. And then she gets a mentorship from me. So hopefully like an ongoing thing until Isabel's like, okay, enough. And then, my autographed album, a t-shirt, a World Changer t-shirt. Like, I have my sweatshirt on. It says, I just want to listen to music and change the world. She gets like a t-shirt that says that. And then what else do you get? Let's see.
I think that's it, which is a pretty amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We named them all. I mean, that comes from the fact that I came from Roanoke, Virginia, which people hear Roanoke and they're like, the Lost Colony? And I'm like, no, the Lost Colony's lost. I'm from the other Roanoke, the one you haven't heard of. And I didn't know anybody when I moved to LA. And I also think that, industry, whether it's the music industry or the acting industry, can be really dark. And it can be full of a lot of predators and people with bad intentions. And so, I want to always help other artists avoid that, because if you genuinely just want to tell stories and use your voice for good, then, you need people in your corner that are going to have your back. So I'm happy to do that for other artists because I wish I had had that.
I think from the moment the votes finished, I think there was about a week, until we actually found out. And I was actually confused about the time. So I thought it was happening the day before, and me and my boyfriend were, checking, and then nothing happened. And we were like, oh, we must have got it wrong. And then the next day, I don't know how I got these times. I was probably because of the time difference.
You're like 17 hours or 16 hours ahead of me, so like you're in tomorrow and I'm in yesterday for you.
Yes. And I think it's because as well of the PDT versus PST maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyway, I thought I would find out at midday, and then at 11 a.m, so an hour earlier, I got the email, and no, there was no time frame of like shock. It was just like ecstatic. Me and my boyfriend were just like running around the house screaming, so happy. So yeah, it was just like, it was really, I don't know, like it was almost like I just felt like I could never run for, prime minister or anything. It was so like every round you're like, so like, oh gosh, will I get through? Because you don't know you know, what other people are on, how many votes
And I
they've
didn't
got.
know
Like
either.
that's the cool thing.
Like only Orbit knew. I didn't know either. They wouldn't give me any info because legally they wanted to make sure that, you know, there was no way I could tell somebody, oh, they had this many purchase votes so that somebody could, you know, like it was just like to make everything legally clear and whatever. They didn't give me any info.
Yeah. So it's like crazy.
You had won like a day or two before, but I still didn't have the breakdown of votes or anything like that. I was just like, okay, good.
Yeah, I know. It's like such an amazing, I've never seen a contest like that personally. I don't know if they exist much or at all, but I just think it's such a cool thing that like no matter whether you win or lose, like the charity is getting money anyway. So it's sort of like you can't lose. Like when people were voting for me, I remember calling my mum and saying, hey mum, if you want to vote for me. And she was like, I'll buy you 100 votes. And I was like, oh mum, like you don't have to buy me that many. Like that's so nice. And then at first I was feeling a bit like, oh gosh, I hope I win now. I've got to like, my mum's bought votes for me.
Right.
And then I just thought, it actually doesn't matter because it's like my mum's just donated $100 to charity. Like what a beautiful thing for her week. You know what I mean?
Totally. I know. It's really cool. And I'm excited because I learned a lot in the contest and it's going to be my first of many.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Be bigger and better. I'm like, this is going to be a thing now.
Yeah. It's such a cool thing. And like from my point of view as well, like, I mean, if you win, just being involved, like it's just so amazing. It is really like an amazing opportunity that you just don't think is going to happen.
Well, I really appreciate you, you know, being part of it. Honestly, like, you know, because without contestants, we wouldn't have had a contest. So I was like, for me in May, I was like, oh my God, are people going to sign up or not?
And then it went wild, heaps.
Yeah.
Of course, I would love to. The whole thing with Australians is getting visas, work visas. But I have been to Los Angeles before, and the help that, like, some people, I don't know, don't love Los Angeles, but I personally just found people were so keen to help and so, like, lovely and generous with offering, you know, meetings and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's absolutely the dream. Yeah.
So that's the goal. That was the goal of the contest. We didn't raise enough money in order to break ground, but we've raised enough money to really start the process. And so I'm like currently still tallying like what are the most effective next steps. And I just like literally right before this, I talked to Project Orphan's founder, Brittany Ray Stokes. So we're coming up with a game plan, and she knows, you know, at the end of the day, I will create this neighborhood. I just, you know, it might take a few contests to do it, but it's definitely happening. And we've got a lot of really cool proactive steps that this contest definitely initiated, and that's a lifelong goal and dream of mine. So my real goal is after I've created that neighborhood and I've worked out the kinks, because, you know, any nonprofit, you're always going to have learning curves, you know, or any business, you're always going to have to figure out how to make this a well-oiled machine. How can you do things better? And once we've really gotten that down pat, then I want to actually replicate the model in all 50 states, you know, if I can in my lifetime. You know, you're never guaranteed tomorrow, but that's my life goal. Thanks. That's a great question. I feel like I'm going to cry, but it really comes from, I'm a Christian, and there's a Bible verse that's largely quoted by child advocates, but I really take it to heart. It's James 1:27, and it says, pure religion is this before the Lord, loving orphans and widows in their distress. And so I think that, you know, kids in foster care, some of them have been orphaned, but some of them are legally orphaned, but there definitely are modern day orphans. And I really believe that it's my responsibility and duty as a Christian to care for them with all of my heart and advocate for them and to be a voice for the voiceless, and that covers so many issues. And then foster care involves every issue, almost every issue that I care about, that I feel like God cares about, which is if you don't break the cycle of abuse, because children in foster care end up having children in foster care. If you don't break that cycle of abuse, and the only thing you can break it with is love, stability, and safety, And that goes from, like, with my boys, they have this mom. I love their birth mom too, because she's part of their story. And if I don't love her well, then, like, the cycle is going to keep repeating in their family line. But if you don't land in a foster home like mine, who's committed to loving a child well, then here are the bleak statistics. In the United States, our homeless population, 50% of them came from foster care. 72% of our incarcerated came from foster care. And upwards of 98% of our human trafficking victims came from foster care. So these are issues that I care about intensely, and they all cross, and they're all related, and at the very center is foster care, which is child abuse. You know, these are not criminals. They're children that found themselves in a broken system through no fault of their own. And so if you can really get to the root of the issue and heal them as children, then you're going to see homelessness go down, human trafficking go down, and incarceration and crime rate go down. And you know, those are the statistics for the United States, but they're very similar actually in Australia. They're similar in Europe. I don't know about the rest of the world, but these are patterns, you know, that they're very consistent. So I really believe that it's my responsibility as someone who says she loves Jesus to walk my walk. That's one of the reasons we ended up releasing Voices That Give anyway, regardless of the pandemic, because it was planned before coronavirus happened. We were already going to do the contest, and then we were going to release it in April and have it run in May, but instead we did May and June because we took a month to be like, is this appropriate to release now? What's going on? But because of the pandemic, you have teachers who are mandated reporters. It means by law, she has to report child abuse when she sees it because it could save a child's life. And right now what you have is children in isolation at home, stuck at home with their abusers. And so unfortunately, you know, on the other side of this pandemic, we're going to have more the death toll of children is going to be higher than the people who died of coronavirus. So we decided to go ahead and run the contest regardless in order to raise awareness to the issue so that people could be, you know, could kind of take up the mission and pick up the baton of being the eyes and ears of our mandated reporters who are not seeing these children. Not concretely with a concrete timeline. They did just release so much. They did just release they're making 40 new Christmas movies this year. I don't know how they're going to do that with coronavirus, but they're still going to do that, which count on Hallmark to deliver the Christmas cheer. So I know I'll be involved in one of those. I just don't know how or when, obviously before December. So, you know, right now we're all at the mercy of how do you shoot during a pandemic, up to regulations safely and legally.
I mean, we've got it. I think we've got it on Foxtel. I haven't watched it on the channel so much, but I've watched the movies. Yeah, I mean, I love pretty much like a lot of movies. I love seeing like different styles, and I love, you know, who doesn't love happy Christmas movies? So yeah, absolutely. Exciting when I heard that actually, because I've never been to Canada. So yeah, really excited about that.
Vancouver is my favorite city in the whole wide world. You're going to love it. I have heard that, I've never been to Australia, and I've heard that it would be my favorite country by multiple people.
Really?
In different people walks of my life. They're like, you would love Australia more than anyone I've ever met. And I'm like, okay. But I haven't been to Australia yet, so Vancouver to me is my favorite city, so hopefully you like it. That's probably where we'll end up shooting.
Yeah, Australia's pretty good, Jen. You should come here as well. But yeah, I think I'll love both.
I mean, I get asked this question a lot. They're all special to me for different reasons, you know? I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, Isabel. Like different projects just, they stick with you for different reasons. They're special to you for different reasons. I mean, Dash of Love will always be special to me because it was my very first one. And I felt like I was a lot like Nikki. A great question, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to release it worldwide digitally and with a different cover September 4th. So finally this fall I'm going to release it digitally. It hasn't been released before. The only way people could get it before September 4th was exclusively through the contest by purchasing votes. Oh, like that kind of like, I don't know. It depends on the genre. I mean, Amy Winehouse is amazing. So is Duffy, just why my music's like inspired by them. But also Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, Ella Fitzgerald, like that whole gang. I don't know, the Ronettes and the Temptations. I just like
Everyone.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.